And actually, between the ages of 0 and 7, most of the things that we know and how to exist and how to handle and how to navigate the world is actually learned during that moment in time. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Spiritually Fly. I'm your host and your guide, Faith Hunter. By listening or watching this podcast, you are taking steps to rebuild your life, learn ways to courageously live out your dreams, or maybe you're here to unlock your potential. You know why you are here. So let's drop into the power of self-healing and step into a place of self-care. Along the way, I'll provide you with science-based yet spiritually grounded practices that will enhance your life and elevate your soul. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Spiritually Fly. This is episode number 6, and I am your host, your guide, Faith Hunter. Today's episode is about your energy, your voice, your tone, your thought, but most importantly, it is about negative messages that we are constantly shooting off, sending, and directing. And a lot of times we are internalizing it. As you know, our podcast is going to focus on a little read from my book, and then, of course, we're going to drop into a practice. Now, before we get into that, I want to just say a little bit about listening and about those negative messages. I don't know about you, but for myself, I'm always shooting off negative messages. They're like on constant loop. Am I worthy? Am I good enough? Am I smart? Am I creative? Can I even do that? Then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, I shouldn't say that about myself. Or something will happen where I'm like, oh girl, come on, pull it together. And then I may get in the mirror and spit off some affirmations, or I may, send myself through these moments of energetically shifting it. One of the ways that I energetically shift it is that I'll turn on my favorite music and dance. And whatever those lyrics are, I'm repeating them and I'm allowing that vibration to move through me. Which brings me to this thought. When we are shooting off negative messages in our minds, in our heads, when we are even verbalizing it, so those negative messages are audible, it's all energy. And because it is energy, we have the capacity to shift it. We have the capacity to change it. Now, if that is repeating affirmations daily, first thing in the morning, late at night, or if you do kind of like what I do, is I love turning on one of my favorite songs and I'm like, I'm having one of those days, allowing that energy to shift it, you can. But here's the kicker. We were not born with negative messages. We didn't just pop from our mother's womb, spitting off negative thoughts about ourselves. The way that we entered the negative message loop and the trap was being these open vessels. An open vessel for negativity, unfortunately. It's just part of the human condition, who we are. But what happens between the ages of 0, right, when you come from your mother's womb, all the way up to the age of 7, sometimes I like to say 11, we are sponges. We are these open vessels because that is how we learn. And actually, between the ages of 0 and 7, most of the things that we know and how to exist and how to handle and how to navigate the world is actually learned during that moment in time, from 0 to 7, 0 to 11, however you want to see it. When we experience negativity, and sometimes it's not even a trauma, or it's not even something that someone's negatively saying towards us. We can actually experience negativity by watching television, by seeing the way that our caretakers navigate life. Maybe they verbally repeat negative messages to themselves, like, oh my God, I am never great at doing X, Y, and Z. Oh no, that's just not for me. How could I have possibly made that mistake? Like, those are negative vibrations that we are witnessing as children. So, of course, we are going to emulate that. And then as we learn, as we grow, as we start to evolve, that just becomes part of our ability to cope with the challenges. But we have the capacity again to shift. We have the ability to move differently in this world. And even when challenges happen, even when we find ourselves in these negative loops, we can lean back. That's what I always like to do. I always like to lean back, grab my fishing hook, and do a nice reel. And then I rein that negative message in, and then I retool it. I reset it. I reprogram it, and I shift. Now, it's more than just saying the words, right? So if you are one of those affirmations kind of persons, it's more than just saying that. And that's probably one of the reasons why I incorporate music in it, because music makes me feel good. So when you are actually saying those positive affirmations, just don't say the words, baby. Actually feel them move through your body. Allow them to pulsate, vibrate in every inch of your soul. You have the capacity to shift the negative messages and give yourself a new way of existing, navigating and confronting challenges, but also a new way of showing up for yourself. All right, so let's do the read. Of course, I'm reading from my book, Spiritually Fly, and I am reading from page 20. The section is called Within the Language of Listening, Find Strength. I like that. I wrote that, but I liked how that sounds. Pause for a minute. I just have to say, every time I read from this book, this is probably the most, actually this podcast. And I've done a couple of other moments where I've shared things on Instagram where I've read passages from my book. But every time I read it, I'm like feeling it and reliving it again, kind of coming back to that aspect of shifting the vibrations, shifting the sound current that we are sharing with the world, that we are putting out, that we are vibrating in. And so when I read these words that I've written, I'm moved every single time. Okay, now let's get back to the read. Here we go. Within the language of listening, find strength. Humans are dynamic sound boxes bursting with primal resonances, words, and phrases, mental vibrations that ripple through our veins. Language is the way we think and the way that we communicate. Like all sounds within the universe, the waves in our bodies travel along high as well as low vibrations and frequencies. They have the capacity to shift the way we think, feel, and respond. Verbal and visual, positive and negative, daily messages melt and merge into our subconscious mind. As our mind absorbs the messages, our brain catalogs the words and shapes the way we live and love ourselves. Oh my goodness. I'm going to repeat that again because it is worth repeating. As our mind absorbs the messages, our brain catalogs the words and shapes the way we live and love ourselves. Self-loathing and self-destructive messages pierce the core of confidence. We start believing that those messages are true and past experiences blindly guide our present choices. We twist and grind our minds, hoping the inner dialogue will change or transform into something smooth. But this is not how transformation works. We have to put in the effort to reshape how we talk to ourselves and coach our hearts through verbal recovery. We have to coach ourselves through verbal recovery. We have to cast the line. We have to pull and draw those negative messages back in, and then consciously, intentionally coach ourselves back into recovery. Because once again, we have created, all of us have created this pattern, and we see it over and over. It's constant, it's hard to get around it. We are experiencing it every single day. Negative messages. We absorb it, we feel it, we tell ourselves all kinds of things, and then we start to believe it. We start to believe that we can't. We start to believe that we are not good enough, that we are not worthy. We start to believe that love isn't possible. We start to believe that our dreams cannot come true. We send these negative messages and those negative frequencies, those low vibrational frequencies, through the words we speak and the thoughts running through us and the things we feel. And as a result, we wonder, oh my God, I thought I was trying to manifest. I thought my manifestation was going to come true. I've been begging and pleading. I've been writing it down. I've been vision boarding. But one of the things that happens is that even though we have been doing all of those things, we never let go. We never rein in the negative messages. So even if you're like, yes, I want a brand new home. I want more money. And then the message that you're sending to yourself, or you're saying to yourself, oh my God, you may say, I want those things, but I'm so not worthy. No, I'm stuck in this horrible job. I lack creativity. Ooh, my bank account is zero again. Instead of stepping into the positive messages and the positive feelings when you wake up in the morning, saying to yourself, I am grateful, I am thankful, I am so excited about the possibilities that are open to me today. I am stepping into my fullness right now in this moment. I am smart, I am beautiful, I am creative. I am a high vibrational being who has the ability and capacity to manifest anything I desire. This is my life, and I am going to live it fully, completely, authentically as myself. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, universe, for delivering me these free flowers. Now, I add that in because what happened today is that I was actually at the grocery store, and I get to the counter and I'm like putting all my stuff through, and I have two bouquets of flowers. One had the little skew mark. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, the scanner, right? She was able to scan one, and the woman couldn't find the scan on the other one. Instead of her going, "Oh, can you go back and grab another flower?" or getting on the intercom and saying, "Hey, I need to see what the price of these flowers are." She reaches over, she goes, "These are for you." And I was like, "Ooh, thank you, universe." But what made that possible, right? I believe what made that possible is that throughout today, I was really being intentional about my thoughts. And I'm about to cry because it's seriously, I was being extremely intentional. I woke up this morning and I was like, ooh. And I could have said to myself, I needed more sleep. I didn't sleep that great. I tossed and turned. But instead, I woke up expressing gratitude. I dropped into some of my favorite tunes. I burned my Palo Santo, did my candles, just kind of moving through my magnificent way of existing in the morning. Because I don't call it a ritual. I don't call it all these other things. I mean, I love rituals, but my morning activity is all about allowing myself, but intentionally putting myself, my body, my mind, and my soul in this high vibration. I walked my dog in joy. I praised him. I went to the gym. I did more movement because that makes me feel good. And I was like, yeah, I'm so glad I'm getting my heart rate up, right? As I'm on the treadmill. But that whole little journey of being in this place of high vibration, of saying positive things to myself throughout the day, I truly believe led to the universe just deliver me these flowers because I was like, oh my goodness, should I just get one set of flowers? Because I was over there deciding, so I get one flower, just one set of flowers, so I get both sets. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get both. And then the universe said, well, here's a gift. And I said, thank you. Because that's how my life is. Not should be, not can be. I am stepping and extending this line of positivity to myself. I am opening these possibilities to live in high vibration because I'm intentional about my words, my thoughts, and I am not allowing, I refuse, I disallow negativity to move into my frequency. Now, if something challenging happens, I have moved through so much high vibration. I've created a high vibrational life for myself that when something unexpected and uncomfortable does happen, I have the capacity to navigate it with grace. I have the capacity to navigate it even if it's super painful and move through all those feels and still come out living in a way that is centered in positive, intentional, high vibration. I want you to stand, sit wherever you are. This is the practice to bring our podcast, this particular episode of the podcast, to a close. Because I always like to provide a practice, something. You got to take away something. So, what I want you to do is to shout, right? Because remember what I read earlier. You are a human sound box. You're a microphone, and then that microphone is attached to this amazing speaker. Allow these words to audibly move through you and feel them. All right, here we go. I want you to spread your fingers wide so you can feel this vibration that you are creating around you. And just let the elbows kind of bend softly by your rib cage. Spread the fingers wide, kind of like jazz hands. And then repeat after me. I am a powerful being. I love myself unconditionally. I exude positivity. Joy and love moves through me. I attract all that I desire. I am grateful for my amazing life. I am grateful for my amazing life. And it is so. Yes, it is so. It is so. All right, beautiful people. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Spiritually Fly. I am Faith Hunter, your host and your guide, and I cannot wait to see you, to connect with you, not just here on the next episode, but know that you can also connect with me on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and there's one more. Oh, yeah, babies, TikTok. Oh my goodness, TikTok. I always forget about that one. But anyway, you can connect with me on all those other social platforms. And I look forward to sharing more of this spiritually fly life, this spiritually fly path with you. Ciao, everybody.